All right, so this is the hymn number Mandala 738 from Vasishtha to Savitar. So we read first two verses and we spoke a lot on Marta Bhojana, what is this mortal enjoyment. Now we move forward. Apishtutach savita devo astu yam acid vishve vasavo grananti sanastomam stoman namasyaschano dhat vishvebih patu payubih nisurin. May Savitar be the God when affirmed in our consciousness, whom all the luminous dwellers within call upon. May he, worthy of surrendering to, rejoice with our affirmations, protecting our shining beings with all his protecting powers. Let us go word by word. Stutach, literally the one who is praised or established within oneself by remembering and offering, let us say, by constant remembrance, by constant affirmation of the divine presence of Savitar within. Yes, Stutach is affirmed by the invoker as aspirant. So when he is Stutach Savita Devach, may he be Stutach, literally, may he be affirmed within us. Yam acid vishve vasavo grananti, whom indeed all the vasus call upon or praise. Vishve vasavach grananti. Sana stoman namasya chanodhat. May he establish for us those stomas, or the means for his affirmation. Literally. Doesn't go away from affirmation. Vishvebih patu, and by Vishvebih payubih, with all the payus, with all the protections, his protections, or his feelings, let us say. Pato, may he fill the Nisurin, the luminous beings. Literally. Luminous beings within, may he fill with his feelings. With all his feelings, may he fill within the luminous beings, or the beings of the sun. Who are these beings of the sun? We do not know. Everybody translates it differently, especially in the Western tradition. They translate them as some kind of chiefs of the villages or something. But we are following the root, Surya, to shine. And if Savitar is firmly established in us, then he should be God, our God, who all those who dwell here in the physical body call upon Vasavach, yeah? For he is Vasupati in other place, the Lord of all luminous dwellers within the substance. Basically, we represent Savitar here. Yes? We represent the sun god. As Shatapatha Brahmana would say, that we are the rays of the sun. We came from the sun. The sun is our gateway from the beyond to this world. And all the souls came to this solar home through the sun. It is the eye of the gods, the gate to the beyond. And since our souls are from the beyond, the gate is the sun. And we are the rays. So these vasus, the luminous dwellers within the substance, are his sparks, so to say, or his rays, his light, representatives of his light. So he is Vasupati. May he rejoice with our affirmations and with all his protecting powers protect our luminous beings. Or fill our luminous beings from within. So there is a need of this connection of this soul which deviated from the beyond into this world, into the lower hemisphere, entered into the darkness, into the time and space. And it needs to keep up with that connection to the source. There will be a constant invocation of our soul to that source from which we came, to our origin, to our home. So there are two ways to deal with it. It's quite interesting. In other religions, there is an idea to go back to that source and to come home, so to say. Forget about this, world which is not ours, which is not for us. Leave it, drop it and go back, die, and go back and dissolve in the origin from which you came. And there is the other Vedic vision, is to keep up with the connection, with this connection to the beyond, but being here actively engaged in life. And constantly reaffirm that connection. Reaffirm the connection to the beyond by being here, actively living here. This is the whole idea of the sacrifice. Well, makes sense. We know this very well. I'm just saying about the same thing in maybe in different context, because we constantly what is aspiration in a way? If we look into integral yoga, aspiration is that we are aspiring for what? For that descent of the grace from above. So we are calling, there are two powers who alone can determine this difficult endeavor. That is the call from below and the grace from above that answers. So this answer, from above, this grace which comes down, has to be affirmed by us, within us. So this connection has to be made and constantly reactivated. It is not enough to make the connection and then to live. It has to be done always, every moment, because only then it is real. It's not a mental idea. So it is the affirmation of Savitar in the consciousness of man, which is the way to his guidance and protection on the path to immortality. And he should rejoice in such affirmations, which means it should be true in his eyes. Then only he will fully manifest himself in all his powers, giving full protection and guidance to man, who now become his shining beings, the beings of the sun, Surin. It has to be done everywhere. I remember the essay by Sharon, who was writing that creativity, why we need to remember and offer, why we need this remembering, calling for the guidance, because only then the divine starts working in us, through us, in our creativity. So this is the same simple idea, but very difficult to maintain with consciousness which is not, how to say, accustomed to this kind of living. That means you are not living for your egoistic being anymore. You live for some higher purpose, which you actually experience and feel every moment. The life becomes beautiful, meaningful, luminous. There is nothing to be afraid of. Everything is working for one purpose, manifesting the light more and more in oneself. Okay, number 4. Abhi yam devi aditi granati savam devasya savitur jushana abhi samrajo varuno grananti abhi mitraso aryama sajosha. Who even the Divine Mother Aditi invokes, whom even the Divine Mother Aditi invokes. I'll put whom. Rejoicing in his movement of creation, whom even sovereign kings invoke and praise, Varuna, Mitra, and other godheads, and Aryaman, in one rejoicing or accepting spirit. It's interesting word jush means to be happy and also to accept. It's kind of interesting. Happy and accepting is the same root, yes? To be happy and to accept at the same time. You can't be accepting if you're not happy. Or if you're accepting and not happy, that means something is wrong totally. Can't be true. The Divine Mother, infinite consciousness Aditi, of whom Savitar is the son or the function, is rejoicing in his movement, manifesting the divine here, Savam. Savam is distilling, pressing out from the beyond through his gate to this time and space all the divine properties, praising him and approving his movement constantly. Actually, it is she, the Divine Mother, who does it, and we call that movement and that action of Aditi Savitar as her function, her son doing it. And all the sovereigns, Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, all the Adityas, great godheads, yes? Varuna, the purity of the divine being, Mitra, the luminosity of the divine consciousness, Aryaman, the power of the divine being. In one rejoicing spirit, welcome his movement here. So as you remember, there are 7 Adityas, yes, and the 7th is the Surya, Savitri. Surya, Savitri is just 2 functions of the same being. Surya is the self, and Savitri, Savitar, is the action of that self, or the consciousness power which extends and manifests. So he is the 7th, and so Varuna is the 1st, Mitra is the 2nd, Aryaman 3rd, Bhaga is the 4th. We will mention Bhaga in the next verses. And then we have Daksha, Amsha, and Surya, the triple supermind. So these Daksha, Amsha, and Surya are somehow embodied in Savitar. They are all embodied, all 7 suns, so to say. So 7 discs of the sun are within this disc of Surya. So they all rejoice. Why? Because the purpose of their manifestation is fulfilled by him. They are bringing their purity, luminosity, power into manifestation. through him, by him. He is all of them. Even Aditi is Grinati, is praising him, invoking him, literally voicing him. Abhiyam Devi Aditir Grinati, whom even Aditi goddess, the Divine Mother, voicing here. Savam Devasya, especially his action of distilling, pressing out the divine properties into time and space. She accepts his action. She rejoices from this activity of Savitar. And all the sovereign lords, Samrajah, Varuna, Grenanti, all the sovereign lords, and then said Varuna, they all voice him, praise him. Praise is also an interesting word. We do not know what praising is. If we deconstruct it into the spiritual, experiential sense, so what it would mean, praise? Praise means to be totally overwhelmed and excited and rejoicing and feeling bliss from the presence. You know? And that creates this voicing. I am praising because it is true. I'm not praising because I want something from it. No? I'm praising because I'm already fulfilled. There is a fulfillment part. So Varuna, and notice Mitrasach in the plural. Varuna and Aryama in singular and Mitrasach in plural. And all of this Grinanti, they are all voicing, praising Sajoshach in one movement of their rejoicing and accepting spirit. This is a very interesting way of how the Veda is using also grammar, that many times you see that one Godhead can be used in the plural, implying them all in plural. Now, Varuna is in singular, Aryama is in singular, and Mitrasach are in plural, meaning that all Varuna, Mitra, and Aryaman is one compositor split into different places. It's a very flexible usage of grammar, very flexible. Our mind, modern mind, will never permit this.
Vladimir, one quick question. What exactly does the word abhi mean?
The most kind of confusing word.
Now?
It means
Now?
everything. No, abhi means it's a particle. It's a prefix which means around, towards, and
Okay.
so on. I can read to
Okay.
you the whole chapter if you want.
No, no, no. I'm just wanted to just small curiosity. Thanks.
Well, since we are here already, prefix, which means to, towards, into, over, upon. It expresses the notion of going towards, approaching, usually. This is the major thing. It expresses superiority, intensity. To, towards, in the direction, or against, sometimes, or into, or for the sake of, or on account of, on, upon, with regard to, by, before, in front of, over. So what would you like to have out of this list? Even severally. Oh God. Anyhow, it's very close to pari and upon. It's like upon, towards, and also sometimes around and above. Above all. Yeah. I translated even.
I was under the impression that it was now, but I am changing my mind.
Now. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Now, in a sense, like opening the verse, and now, yeah, so can, or actualizing the action. Yes, now. Usually, the word now actualizes what is going to happen. Our language is very rigid in a way. If you widen the scope of what it means and how many contextual meanings it may have, that now, that very word now, you will be surprised that there is the whole list, the whole few pages you can write what now could mean. And then, number 5. Abhiyemi vanushak sapante ratim divo rati shachaf prithivях ahir budhniya ahir budhniya utanach shrenotу. Most probably budhniya. Ahir budhniya utanach shrunotu. Varutri ekadhenu bhich nipatum. Those who are full of energy, and those are full of energy, vanushach, very approach us together, mitach together, sapante, serve us, approach us, bestowing gifts from heaven and earth, ratim devach, rati shachaf prithivях. May they hear us, Shrinotu, and the snake at the bottom, Ahirbudniya. May the protecting mother guard us with her sons, Varutri, Ekadhenu bhich nipatu. It's very interesting. Ekadhenu is the Bahuvrihi compound, which means actually one cow. Yes, but it means in Bahuvrihi compound the one who has one feeding source, and this is the name of Adityas, of all these gods. They have one source, the Divine Mother. They are with one cow behind. And Varutri is she, the protectress. She is the protector who, with her sons, should protect us, Nipato, deeply from within, or fill us deeply within, let us say. I'm constantly translating parut to protect, which is in the dictionary protect, as also fill, because this filling is fulfilling, protecting. Who is this? I'm sure Gita Shri will ask. Who is this snake at the bottom? This is a bit.
I was going to ask you that.
Well,
I think, is it the abyss?
right. Absolutely. It is the bottom of things, the inconscient or the nescient, if you will. Something where the consciousness is not anymore. The narrowness is so profound, so fundamental. Ahich. Ahi from root ah, to squash, to narrow down, like Python. Python is kind of coiling around and squashing you until you have no space. So this is the depth of the inconscient, where there is no light, where the soul is declared as lost, Sri Aurobindo speaks about in Savitri about this, where the soul is even crossed from the list of existent ones. Such a depth of inconscient, of darkness. So that darkness should hear us. That means we should hit it with our light of invocation of Savitar. And the protectress, the mother, Aditi Varutri, with her sons should fill us deeply in. So basically what it means from the occult sense is that the light which we invoke as vasus, as the luminous dwellers within the substance, as souls, should fill in the abyss. Yeah? We are not invoking it only for ourselves. We are here to do the work of transformation of the world. That's the whole point. Otherwise, we would not be here. If it is only for us, we are already the divine beings. But we took onto ourselves everything else, all these inconscient formations, and started to mold it, to make it more and more conscious. Our bodies, our vital, physical and mental bodies are those domains or those fields of action. So this is more an invocation for the more universal action, I think. There is an abyss within us. And if we go deep through our kind of gate, through our antariksha, through the crack in the navel, we may go down into the inconscient. Ayurbuddhya is actually a figure, is considered to be a deity of some kind, or in the Rig Veda, and there are hymns dedicated to Ayurbuddhya. This is that foundation which has to be purified or has to be transformed. You remember in Matrimandir we have the upper chamber where we have the crystal, the light, sun ray comes down to the crystal, and then through the whole body of Matrimandir it goes down, down, down to the bottom. And at the bottom there is 1,000 petal lotus, white lotus, and the crystal is at the very bottom. And so the ray of light going through the whole material, through the crystal there in the chamber, in the main chamber, redirected down to the lower crystal, and there are waters flowing. You remember that place, beautiful place? This is purified subconscious and inconscient by the divine. So that Ayurbuddhya has to hear our action, our call, has to react to this activity of the descent of the light from above to our call. That means we are dealing, if this is the real activity in the Rig Veda, then we are dealing with transformation of the lower being by the supramental light. That's what Sri Aurobindo trying to do. To transform the darkness in us. All right. We can take one more, two more. Anutanno jaspatih mansishta ratnam devasya savituriyanah bhagam ugro avasejo haviti bhagam anugro adhayati ratnam. May the Lord of those who are born in the body agree to this gift or sanction it for us. The Lord of those who are born in the body, the Lord of all our souls, may He sanction this gift for us, the gift of seeking the wealth of the god Savitar. Tubhaga calls the strong for his growth. Tubhaga also weak goes in search of wealth. Everybody comes to Bhaga. Everybody wants the delight. Weak or strong doesn't matter. Everyone seeks the fulfillment of bliss. Now Bhaga is mentioned. So there was Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, and now Bhaga. These are four guardians of the truth. Sri Aurobindo has the whole article in The Secret of the Veda, which is called the Four Guardians of the Truth, or the Guardians of the Truth. And these are the Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, or Sat, Chit, Tapas, Ananda. Four transcendental Godheads, the powers of the Divine Mother. Anu Mansishta. Mansishta is here the aorist. Anuman. Anuman is to sanction, yes? Tat, nach, that for us. Jaspatich. Jaspatich, the Lord of the souls, let us say, should sanction. Ratnam, that ratna, that wealth or jewel, yeah? Devasya Savituh, that jewel of the god Savitar Iyanach, seeking. Iyanach literally going to. There is some kind of realization which is to take place with the god Savitar interfering into the lower hemisphere. When he brings his light into the lower hemisphere, distills it, presses it out, something is happening in the lower hemisphere. We are getting a new quality, as it were, which was not there before. It is not that he brings something which was there before and settles it there. No. With this interaction, with this merging, or with this transformation of the lower being by the higher, a new type is born. A new Ratnam is kind of produced, distilled, or coming to birth. It's a new entity which has the properties of the beyond and can be in time and space as the mortal being. It is immortal in the mortals. It's a unique creation, immortal in the mortals. It's not the same as immortal there and mortal here. It's another type, as it were, and it generates wealth. Wealth which he always wanted to have. And Bhaga is the responsible for this, the delight. It multiplies the delight. And the strong one is seeking its fulfillment, and the weak one is seeking this fulfillment. The strong one is most probably aware of the divine, and the weak one is unaware of the divine. Both are seeking the fulfillment of this delight. in manifestation. And there are two more. Maybe I will finish the hymn today. We have time. Shamno bhavantu vajino haveshu devatata mitadravach suarkach jambhayanto ahim vrikam rakshansi sanemi asmadhyuyavat amivach. May the divine powers, Vajinach, bring us blissful peace. Sham, no. Yeah, Sham is always peace, blissful, bliss and peace. When we invoke them, Haveshu, in our invocations, manifesting the divine, Devatata, spreading the divine properties, moving in a measured pace, mitadravach, shining with knowledge, suarkach. Arka is an interesting word, the sound, the light, and the word. The hymn, crushing, crushing. This is not crashing. Crushing the snake and the wolf and the rakshasas. Jambhayanto, literally gobbling, gobbling, i.e. The snake, the wolf, and the rakshasas. May they completely separate us from the adversary. Literally, from us, those mixed powers, amivoch, with residue, yuyavan, may they separate them from us. Completely, sanemi. Always. So, we are happy, yes? Gita Shri is happy that he has to be gobbled up, crushed, transformed. Vaje avata, vajino no. Dhaneshu vipram rita jnach. Asya madhavach pipata madayadvam triptayata pathibhich devayanaich. In every divine realization you increase us, O divine powers, in the gaining of wealth, O immortal ecstatic knowers of the dynamic truth. Rita jnach amritach viprach, all these words. Drink of this honey, asyamadvav pibata, get intoxicated, madayadvam, and having become satisfied, triptaha, move on, yata, by the path, pathibhich, of the gods, devayanai. So after all the fundamental realizations, we have to move on the paths of the gods still to do something. All right, this is the hymn. I will stop here. I think it's already quite enough for today. And we can discuss something if you have some thoughts. All thoughts have vanished, yes.
Vladimir, who is the new Ratnam that will be manifested? You said.
Right.
Is it the psychic being?
It is a new matter, which psychic being is a kind of initiates to. If psychic being grows and comes to the front, it becomes that future body. But everything what was there, what was not psychic being, which psychic being took and transformed, is that Ratna. Psychic being is Vasu, the luminous dweller within the substance. It doesn't have to be transformed, but grow only, grow and occupy more and more unregenerated being, unconscious being on the surface. And once it transforms it and it shines like the divine consciousness, full of consciousness and power, that is actually the meaning of wealth and riches in the Rig Veda, and gold and jewels and everything else. These are the symbols of the transformed or newly born wealth and bliss. And all wealth is connected to the delight, because it is full of consciousness power, which is actually the delight. The delight is nothing but full correspondence of consciousness and power. Most probably that's why people want power unconsciously and not knowing that they're looking for delight. Yes, Robin, you're muted.
Vladimir, I was wanting to ask, in the beginning you had translated stomum as instrument or some word you used. I forgot the word.
Oh, yes.
Stomum.
Stoma as the Shubin is using a word which I am using all the time, is the establishment. What you word you're asking question which has no answer. I have to look into the text. It meant
You said something, instrument or something, not instrument, machinery.
to assert the divine within us. Stoma is the means by which this assertion of the divine in us, establishment of the divine in us, can take place. So they are asking Savitar for these means by which his presence can be established in us. Usually this is the way to the divine. There is no other way. You cannot find your means to establish the divine. The divine has to give you all the instruments and all the means by which you will be able to hold on to him. Otherwise, how? So it starts abhishtutach, yes? This is the verse. Where is that hymn? I closed it or what?
Is it mechanism?
Means.
Means.
Let me. Stoma is actually the praising, the praising hymn. Give us the hymns, if you will. Affirmation, that's what the word I was looking for. Okay, I'm opening the page since you asked. Abhishtutach Savita Devo Astu. And when the God Savitar is established or affirmed in us, affirmed is better than established. Affirmed is in consciousness. Whom all the luminous dwellings within the substance call or voice, praise. Sanach stoman namasiyach chanodhat. May he establish in us stomas, and that's what I said, the means of affirmation. Interestingly, he worthy of surrendering. Ah, yes, I skipped this chano, chanodhat. I read it in hastily as chana, as the emphatic particle with u, but it is not. It chanas is the delight, satisfaction. Yeah, you caught me. So may he establish in us the delight, Namasiyah, the one who is worthy of surrendering the divine. Stoman. Is it possible that it is ablative? Nachstoman. Sanachstoman namasiyach chanodat. May he rejoice, yeah? May he establish within himself the delight, or within us the delight of our stomas. Nachstoman.
Would it be stomat, Vladimir?
Yeah, should be stomat, because how I translate it now, yes. But I have to check with Pratipadika. This is the one thing when Pratipadika is needed, whether it is so or not, if it is ablative or not. Let me check. And if you have any other kind of something to say, please go ahead. I will check in the meanwhile and tell you whether it is stomat or it is stoman. Oh, it is so far away from all of us that one doesn't know even how to where to begin, where to start. Okay, it is number 3. Stoman, the same. Well, then I can translate it, who is worthy of adoration should establish our stomos as delight. Yeah? So, in that way also possible. If chanas is that. If not, if chanas is chana u, the heart, then let me check with Pratipadika. Pratipadika is usually correct, yeah? 99.9%. Pratipadika is separation on the words, separate words, each word, without sandhis. No, it is chano, chanach, tahat. I can show you how Pratipadika deals with words, so you will, it's for Sanskrit people. Here it is, and let me make it smaller that you will see it in one go. You see, each word is separated. Nach, stoman, namasiyach, chanach, dat. So you know what it means. There's no drop of visarga anywhere or anything of the kind. All right, these are all the questions, and no more, no ahirbudnya needed anymore. The abyss, protect us from the abyss. Also, ahirbudnya is that foundation of our manifestation in time and space from below. Yeah, Sabi.
Yeah, I was thinking about that connection that you were describing and thinking of it just really kind of crudely as an electrical, two wires coming together so that the electrons can flow. And that as soon as you separate, that's how a switch works. As soon as you separate, then the electrons can't flow anymore. And I was sort of thinking about that as the darkness is the place where the light can't flow anymore. And once it disconnects itself entirely, then there is no light there. And so part of that, bringing the light into the inconscient, into the darkness, is creating some kind of connection, because even in the inconscient, there is somehow the conscient there somewhere, isn't there?
Well, it's just involved, self-involved, yeah, inconscient. So it is like you cannot see it in the body because it's self-involved, self-engaged. It's like this black hole, if you will, yeah, which kind of not allowing the light to spread anywhere. So you see only the black hole, but when you enter the black hole, at the end there will be light, yeah? Because it's all there in a way stored, dense. The center is full of light. This is the secret of the Veda, by the way, that in the deepest darkness in the inconscient there is a hidden light. Most probably kind of you can bring physics into it, black hole, and then it will be.
So if my ego becomes so strong that it draws everything within itself, it will become the inconscient. It cannot allow anything to spread out.
Yeah, only me, myself, and I. I think for me,
Only me, myself, and I.
yeah, drawing, retracting, taking constantly, as the Veda, as the Gita says, the one who cooks for himself, eats for himself, is the thief, because he steals the wealth which is for all. So he feeds himself. It is for him. Yeah, it is absolutely useless life anyway, because life is not for this. It's just kind of a disease. Well, it's a part of our manifestation. You know? There is a time to gather stones and there is a time to throw stones away. So we have to collect stones before we throw them around. If you don't have stones to throw, it's another problem. Breathing in and breathing out. The law of life. But only breathing in is not possible. You have to breathe out. There is something else about this connection, what you kind of made as an electricity. It's actually the soul is a delegate of that, and it has direct connection to the Supreme. It has. But because it needs to act upon this universe, which it kind of build around itself. These bodies, physical, vital, mental bodies, are the elements of this unconscious universe. Yeah? It took them as material to build around itself a body, separate body. That, because of that, it needs the intervention from above. It cannot do it only through itself. It will be too long. Most probably it will be done anyhow, but too long and maybe not even feasible to do it that way. So it needs the help from above. It needs a flood from above. And that flood does not come to the soul alone. It comes to that unregenerated being which soul accumulated around. Yeah? So it acts upon that part. So it's a little more complex than just wiring. So it does something to the surrounding of that wiring. Somehow the the coverage of the wire becomes hot and starts flaming and catches the fire or something.
Well, not to belabor the image, but there is an electric field then around. I mean, it feels like I understand what you mean, that it's not a simple it's not a linear connection.
There is
But
a linear connection between the soul as a delegate in build and that transcendental. It is always in contact. It knows what it is. It knows itself. But in this sacrifice as Yajamana, we started to build the bodies, why we are born in this unconscious body, which is mortal and so on, and has diseases and God knows what, grows and dies. All this is actually the portion of this work of sacrifice. Yes? But for the sacrifice, it is too not enough of that spark. It needs to grow into the being. And to grow into the being using this, yeah, and transforming it and coming to the front, it needs the help. So well, you can say that the flood of that wire is intensifying, let us say that way, and that intensity becomes extra, which could move soul forward. Yeah, we can speak this way, most probably. Just
what was useful for me to think about that is how, in talking about how it has to be maintained, it's the same message over and over again, but that we're aware. It's the same thing Mother said about sincerity, that you should always act from your highest realization, which we don't. And it just made me think again that connection with God that I know intellectually is there, do I have those two wires touching all the time? It just was a useful image for me in that way, as a remembrance.
right. Well, in the depth of our being where we are not aware, yes, they are always in connection. It's coming closer to the surface, yeah, more and more. We see that awareness of that connection fades away, so to say, and it has to be intensified. And in that sense, yes, spark has to be created. Then connection has to be created in the place where it is not yet created. And then something happens. The whole substance of our being, the way how we look at the world, ourselves, and live here changes. And actually, this is the process of evolution, the only process of evolution. Evolution is impossible without this delegate psychic being or presence in the midst of this inconscient. There would be no development. Nobody would develop into anything. There would be no growth, no Darwinian evolution. Why should it develop? What is the survival of the fittest? What does it explain, actually? Nothing. Just nothing. So little. It's only for the mind. But why it should grow and change and adapt and become better, always better? What is this betterment? Yeah? You can adapt and stay typal in the world of the same typal kind of adaptation. No, you don't stay, you just grow. Something is pushing this growth. And that is this Yajamana psychic being. Right, great. Okay, thank you everyone. And we finished the hymn. We will start another hymn of Vasishta again. There's one more. Shorter one, only 4 verses. Maybe we will finish next time to Savitar. All right, I will close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santo Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Namaste.